I have grew up and lived all of my life with a weak father. And perhaps not only weak, but also unsupportive, soft, and quite a pushover. He wasn't the one to make the rules in the house. He never made decisions. He always got irritated and annoyed at stuff. Whenever disagreements came up, he was always the one to try to stay neutral and just diffuse the situation instead of going with what he thinks is right. And of course, if you stand for everything, it means you stand for nothing. He was a people pleaser and kind of just floated his way through life, went with the flow, so to say, never had any clear direction or motivation for life. He did what he felt like, he did what he thought was best, what he felt like doing most. And him doing that meant that he was weak most of his life. And then that turned to him developing an addiction with alcohol, which got the absolute best of him. And now he is away from home getting help because of that. And of course, when you're growing up, you're very unlikely to question if what your parents are doing is right, if you're going down the right direction in life. You may question that later on, or maybe quite early on if you're quite a mindful child, but I know I certainly didn't. And not only did I not question it, but it's also because my life was quite comfortable, quite good. No real hard times, got provided for, got attention when I was young. And so it meant that from when I was born up to around 11, 12 years old, I was going down the right direction in life, I would say. I was well socialised, I enjoyed playing, I was always energetic to do stuff. I would joke about all of those sorts of things. I was doing quite good. But then came secondary school, and then that's when diversity kind of came up. Because for me, it meant that I was put in this situation, this new place where I knew 4 people, maybe. No, I think it was 3. And then I had to make friends with completely random people, which I've never done in my life. And when I did do, I was very young and so young where you don't really care about judgment or what people may think. And so it was really difficult, and that's where I think the biggest impact of my father's influence came in. And influence in not a good way. Because like I said, he was a soft pushover who couldn't stand up for himself and didn't speak his mind and didn't say what he thought because he didn't want that judgment. And then it meant that I eventually became like that in secondary school. At the very start, I was still going down the right direction. I spoke up sometimes. I made some friends. I was friendly. Although I didn't do schoolwork, I played Xbox with my friends. So it wasn't like I was a social outcast and do nothing. Although I didn't do work, I was still very well socialised. But then some things came up. I said the wrong things in class. Everybody laughed at me. Everybody thought I was dumb. I wasn't fully on bullied, but there was a few things that happened that made tension between me and someone else, where there was a risk of a fight or things basically just got serious. And then it meant that I completely lost confidence in myself. And from the second year of school all the way up until last year maybe, I was quiet, pushover, and basically everything that I described my father like, I was like that. And I think the biggest and maybe the only reason why I'm not still like him and not continuing to be like him for the rest of my life is purely because from a very young age, from when I was around 15 and a half, 16 I think, when I started playing basketball, I realised that if I became good enough at basketball, I could play professionally and make money without having to work an employed job or have to go to school or anything. And after that idea come to mind, I think I was destined for freedom in life outside of an employed job. Because for my entire school life, I never understood or even had not even a hint of what I wanted to do for an employed job for the rest of my life. Not a single clue, never thought about it, and when people asked, I did not know. And so after I picked up basketball and loved it and realised that I could make money from doing this without having to work, that was it. And then I played basketball for around 2 years. And then after that, I didn't do anything for a year roughly. And then I tried quite a lot of things. I tried YouTube for the first time in 2020. Then I remember I ran an Instagram account with the hopes of monetizing it. I didn't really try, but I was in the process of setting up a social media marketing agency. Well, not even setting up, I was learning about it. I tried dropshipping, I tried trading Forex, I tried to flip clothes for profit over a year ago a bit. And then what I'm doing now, of course, which is run a YouTube channel, helping men with their problems, helping men develop themselves, helping men become the best version of themselves, while talking about problems in life, problems in the world and society, which I've started around a year and 4 months ago now. And the way my mind works is that when I enjoy doing something, or I want to become good at something, I will find out everything that it takes to become the best at it. I will cut no corners, and I will try to become the best version of myself in that thing. Because, for example, when I played football when I was younger, I tried to be the player that was all rounded and could do a little bit of everything. I even practiced thoroughly with my left foot, my weak foot, and I became quite good with it. And when I played basketball, I also tried to be that player who could do a little bit of everything and have no real weaknesses and be strong all around the board. And during my 2 years of playing basketball, I looked up every single thing that there was that I could use or do to make myself better at basketball. I did all that, but didn't end up practicing as much as I should have, which meant that I wasn't actually that good. But holy Jesus, did I research. That's where I learned about diet and sleep and stretching, and then I also ended up reading some bit about leadership and types of finishes and everything that you can name. I at least knew about it, if not knew thoroughly about it. And after that, or maybe I always had it within me, I had this thing where I wanted to know everything that there was about the thing. Basically, I wanted to master this thing that I liked. And this is kind of off topic, but I remember one time with this youth club kind of thing, where it's just like me and my friends went to this place and did some course kind of thing, but then they took us on trips, something like that. We did that, and it turns out we were going bowling one day. And they told us in advance, it was like a week or maybe 2 before or something. And on the day where we had to go bowling, I had downloaded videos on how to bowl properly, finding out that there's oil on the runway. No, it's not a runway. Finding out that there's oil on the, I'm going to call it runway. It's in a V shape or something, and that you should bowl this way and your stance should be like this. And that was just for bowling. It wasn't competitive. The people who I played with probably don't remember that game, but I wanted to be good in it, and I think I actually remember it. And so with that kind of mindset, it meant that when I started to take something really, really serious, I wanted to know everything that there was to know. Now, of course, I wasn't really able to try to master everything I could about with every endeavour that I attempted, because I didn't really spend long enough doing most things. But when it came to this YouTube channel, for the first several months, I kind of didn't improve much. I kind of figured out what to do, was learning a little bit at a time, and I was going from there. But then I kind of found out what I didn't know, and then that just opened up the door to realise how much I can truly improve. And with YouTube and running a self-improvement channel helping men, I of course need to improve myself. So that only means that I need to become the absolute best version of myself. And in the same way, when I played basketball and football, trying to be exceptional in every single way with no real weaknesses, I try to do that with myself. Trying to develop every single thing that there is and that I know about. Trying to speak better, trying to be more mindful, being more charismatic, having a better camera presence, learning to edit better, uploading more frequently, taking care of my diet, disciplining myself more, learning to speak to random people, increasing my confidence. The list is endless, and I couldn't tell you all of the things that I've done to improve myself in order to succeed in YouTube as much as possible. And I didn't really think of it until I said it there now, that I really am improving myself, largely for the success of my YouTube channel and the videos that I create. And so it really boils down to me not wanting to work an employed job and wanting to master everything that I enjoy. I really think that those two things are the sole reason why I'm not a degenerate struggling with addictions, depression, substance abuse, and any other mental disorders that there may be. And I think I got lucky to have developed that mindset early on in my life, because God knows what I would be doing now if it wasn't for that. Because again, my father did nothing to help me get the most out of my life. All he did was try to keep the peace and not upset anyone, and try to please everyone that he had in his life. And with me not having a strong masculine father figure, it has always meant that I always quite attached myself to men that I look up to and wanted to be like them. When of course that man in every child and young man's life should be his father. But I don't have that in my life, and you very well may not either. And so what do men like us do in our position, where our fathers aren't supportive, aren't strong, don't lead us in the right direction, which leaves us with like a void of a strong masculine father figure? And it's quite difficult not to fill that void with men we just aspire to be like, or men that we look up to for one specific reason. In this position, it's very easy to pedestalize any successful man that you somewhat relate to. Because I know that for me, that has definitely been true and has came up quite a lot of times. I attached myself to men that I looked up to, no matter what faults they may have or how not righteous they may be. I just did it anyway. Nearly, I would say subconsciously. And I would say at the very, very minimum, 90% of men that you could look up to would cause you detriment. Because they may have become successful or successful in this specific area or whatever it may be, but they don't discipline themselves and try to delay gratification and try to do what's best for the world. And then trying to find a man to look up to who delays gratification, doesn't give in to his emotional urges, tries to do what's best for the world, takes care of his people, and tries to always become the best version of himself, is beyond rare. But a bit ago now, I grew to understand that all of the things that I mentioned is what religion speaks about. And you may be put off by me mentioning religion, but do listen to this. I was in your exact spot a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago. I would have had that exact same reaction. But I grew to understand that although religion is like seen as weird in Western culture, and that anyone who's hyper religious is looked at like a freak, and like in school religion would be laughed at, they didn't really speak the importance of it, and like we would piss about with Bibles, make fun of God and Jesus and all the religious figures and stuff. But all that religion is living by a set of morals. That's what I understand religion to boil down to. And I'm nearly certain that that is exactly what it is. I haven't looked into it and into the specifics or details in it, so that's why I'm saying I'm nearly certain. And if you were to take Christianity, for example, the first 10 commandments are: love God first, put God first. Do not make any other gods to love. Love God with what you say about him. Take a day once a week to love God. Love and honour your parents. Love life, do not murder. Love your own spouse. Lovingly respect your neighbour's property. Love and respect your neighbour's reputation. Love and respect what God has given to you. None of that seems outrageous. And all it is just living by a set of morals. A set of rules, knowing what is right and what is wrong. And a religion isn't this weird thing. It's just disciplining yourself to stay true to a spiritual God that you look up to. And God would be a good masculine role model, because from what I understand, I'm pretty sure God is like perfect and he doesn't do any bad or anything, and so everybody would aspire to be like him, from my understanding. And to explain religion quite simply is that all you're doing is looking up to this spiritual being who he only does good and he loves his children, being the human population. And Christianity says that if you are good you go to heaven, and if you're bad, you go to hell. And you can only be good by delaying gratification, taking care of your people, making the world a better place, and being the best version of yourself. And so if you live true to what God says, you're literally delaying gratification and being on self-improvement, but just through a spiritual way, really. It is barely any different, with the only difference being is that self-improvement is what you choose to do, whereas following religion means following a predetermined list of rules and morals that this God believes in. And I truly think that turning to religion, if you have a weak father or you have no father, is the best thing to do, because gods and the religion, they don't have opinions. They don't like something, they don't dislike something. All they do is say that this is right and this is wrong, so do this and don't do this. And it's as simple as that, because you could look up to someone you see from YouTube and they speak about the truth and what is wrong, but they have some opinions about some things. And they don't really care about what is right or wrong, and they just have opinions. They like something and they don't like something else. And with you having a void of no strong masculine father figure in your life, you would probably subconsciously pick up and take on their opinion just because you look up to them and you want to be more like them, of course. So you would subconsciously be like them, even if it's for the worst, but you don't know because you're just looking up to this person. Whereas looking up to religion, you cannot do any wrong, because if you actually religiously follow religion, you're not going to do any bad. You're going to make the world a better place. You're going to take care of your loved ones, and you're going to become successful. And so if you're in the same position as me in life, where you have no strong masculine father figure, he's weak, he's soft, he's a pushover, he never taught you how to discipline yourself, how to make the world a better place, how to take care of your closest people, I would very highly recommend you to follow what religion says. And it doesn't have to be Christianity, like I mentioned. It can be any religion. You may do some research about them, find out what one believes in, what this one believes in, and what this one believes in, what they don't believe in, what they tell you not to do, what they tell you to do. You would find all of that out and just choose which one you want to relate to most and follow. And then it just means you have a strong masculine father figure to look up to for the rest of your life. He's not going to be a real life person that you can see who does something controversial or has opinions about something that doesn't bring the best, or someone who may die and you grow devastated because of that, and then you want someone else, someone new to look up to. None of that will happen. And so with you being an ambitious masculine man on self-improvement, religion is just the next step up. It's the next step up because you will always be held accountable. There will be no shortcuts. You will not ever feel like stopping it because God is always watching. And there will be no change in what you do or what you believe in, and you will just be set for life and you won't have to even think about it really. So after this video ends, take some time to think about all of this and really come to realize that religion is just self-improvement with this role model who you look up to, who is always watching and who is always judging. So you always need to do the right thing, and there's no corners, no shortcuts, no doing this because you're sad and not being your best self because you just don't feel like it. You will always be on self-improvement if you follow religion, and you will always have a strong masculine father figure to look up to if you follow religion. So honestly, take some time to think about all of this and do your own research, do diligent research about all of this as well, which will ultimately set you up for success and will get you everything that you've ever wished for. You will become successful, you will outcompete other men, you will gain attraction from women and have plenty of women to choose from. You will become confident, become rich, have all of the success that you deserve, and will ultimately be living as your best self in your dream life. Put in enough time and attention, because that will make anything into reality.